Hi, Pastor Nathan Deck with your hashtag Better Together Devotions for today. And this week, I want to focus on not being afraid. You see, when I came to faith as a teenager, I remember specifically there was conversations happening around the rapture and pre, mid, post-tribulation. There was all these theories about how Jesus was coming back, especially in the year Y2K, 2000. It seemed like that was an important thing that we thought that Jesus and God were working on our calendar and our timeline. And I want to invite you to examine these things from a biblical perspective this week and to talk about maybe what is actually a ruptured rapture, because it's not quite what it seems. In fact, let's take that word, rapture, for example. The word rapture does not occur in the entire Bible. Shocking, right? Because I know with Tim LaHaye books and things that came out in the early 2000s, as well as some kind of preaching, you would think that the word rapture was in the Bible more than the word Jesus. But the actual word rapture does not occur in the Bible. Someone's going to point out that, well, Jesus talks about in Mark 13, and he talks about two people walking side by side, and one of them's gone, and two people are in a field, and one of them's suddenly gone. Isn't that the rapture, Pastor Nathan? Well, the word there, and many other times in the Bible, is actually a Greek word called harpazo. Harpazo. Harpazo literally means to be snatched, stolen, or seized. Now, in the context of the Gospel of Mark, as well as in the context of the early church, when you think about snatched, stolen, and seized, or kidnapped, what we're really talking about is not some heavenly divine hand coming down and grabbing hold of you. More than likely, it was actually the authorities, the Roman government, grabbing hold of you. The two of you were walking, and then suddenly one of you was snatched or taken away because they were taken for persecution purposes. They were taken because they were believers. They were taken not to heaven, but they were taken to an earthly hell, to a time of not comfort before that. They were taken to be martyrs. And so that helps unpack that word a little bit. There are lots of other places in the scriptures that point to that we're going to unpack this week, but I want to talk again about that word rapture specifically, because there's a lot of things about that word that bother me. For one, the word rapture comes from, the English word rapture comes from the Latin and French words for rape. That doesn't sound positive anymore, does it? Not at all. It has the same understanding of forcibly taking someone and forcibly doing to someone something that they probably did not want. Well, they definitely did not want to have happen to them. That changes our understanding theologically. We don't have to be, because it's not even in the Bible, looking towards a moment when we will suddenly disappear and that God will take us away from all of this. Instead, if you actually read Jesus' words and read Jesus' prayers, the goal is not to try to eventually just get vanished off this plane of earth and to go to somewhere else, but instead the goal of faith is to live faith here on earth as if we are in heaven. Our goal should not be being focused on some kind of escape plan to where we hope that God's going to just take us away from this whole miserable world. But instead, our goal should be leaving this world more Christ-like and better than we found it. The goal of Christianity isn't to let the world go into hell in a handbasket. The goal of Christianity is to bring the God's kingdom through the church, through our faith, through the divine power of Christ working through us in amazing grace. Let's have our focus be less on fear and more on faith. Amen.